Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Recording audio, and then I'll count it in. You could do the intro if you want. This is your time to shine. All right, Longo, show some emotion.
Okay, I'm a little gassed. I just got off like a fucking 3-hour call, but yeah, I got you.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
How you doing? You want me to intro?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know, man. I've never done that.
Well, here we are. Welcome to episode dose of Coquína Cowboys, because the first one, Longo here didn't like his audio quality, so he's like, let's leave it on the Patreon. So make sure to check that out on the Patreon. It'll be a Patreon exclusive on Fort Jefferson, and we go deep on that one. Also, make sure to check out Occultus Mundi, my journal, occult and esoteric subjects on there. Make sure to get a copy of the comic book, The Chosen Juan versus the Saturnian Cube, on my website, the101podcast.com. Follow me on social media at the 101 podcast. And Longo, you want to plug your stuff for the people who want to check you out, dude?
Sure. Old World Florida on YouTube and old_world_Florida on Instagram. Just excited to be here.
I love the enthusiasm.
Cowboys.
I love how energetic you are right now, dude. It's amazing. So, what are we going to be talking about today, dude? Because last time we covered Fort Jefferson, and we're gonna be doing a couple stops in Florida before getting to the meaty stuff that I really want to get to in these episodes. But what are we going to be covering today?
The Ponce De Leon Hotel in St. Augustine, Florida, built by, in quotations, built by Henry Flagler, the railroad and oil tycoon, best friend and business partner of John D. Rockefeller. They opened Standard Oil together, and towards the end of his life, Mr. Flagler would move down to Florida. He would visit, and basically he is the man responsible for building the railroad all the way down the east coast of Florida. And St. Augustine, at this point in the 1880s, was as far down as people had built. So Flagler began building hotels, allegedly. Hotels. I mean, they look like castles once you see this thing. Basically, and we'll start taking a look. What happened was Henry Flagler bumped into a man named Franklin Smith. And Franklin Smith had built, right, in quotations, built, possibly inherited, the Villa Zoreda in... Oh, you can see my stuff? Or that's you flipping through?
That's me flipping through it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. That's good. But Franklin Smith, Henry Flagler, saw Mr. Smith's castle that he had in St. Augustine when he was vacationing, and he offered to buy the castle, but basically Franklin Smith refused, but Flagler was very, very interested. Could you look up Villa Zoreda? Because that's kind of where the story starts. Thank you. We've got
Zaneda?
Villa Zorayda.
Oh,
Zorayda.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
I am an idiot. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So Villa Zorayda, you've got that was built in, I think, 1885, maybe 1883, but early 1880s, and basically Franklin Smith developed this method of pouring concrete. But why this concrete was so special is that it had limestone, crushed up limestone shells mixed in with it. So it actually replicated limestone. And you could make the argument that limestone is nothing but cast, crushed up shells. And this is a castle. You know, if you can spell castle, castles are cast. They're not built, they're cast. So with Villa Zareta, ooh, who's that? with Villa Zareta, Flagler was amazed. This is the story, right? You know, God forbid these Moorish buildings were actually here before any of these white guys showed up. But Villa Zareta was built in Moorish style, and it was made out of poured concrete. And this concrete technique was actually learned from the natives who would make a tabby. And the tabby is, like I said, synthetic limestone. You know, people like Paul Cook use the word geopolymer. And I think this fits that parameters of something that you are casting, and the result is basically a castle. And that building was built in the 1880s and is still standing today and is stronger than any other building in St. Augustine. And the Juan Ponce De Leon Hotel, what we're going to be talking about today, basically, Flagler was so impressed with that building technique, allegedly, that he contracted Smith to help build these hotels, a series of hotels together, and what would eventually be downtown St. Augustine. They built it all out of Franklin Smith's unique casting limestone technique. It's called a Coquína mix. That's why we're the Coquína Cowboys, right?
Hey,
so Coquína, this Coquína mix, it's a synthetic limestone, and the pyramids are made of limestone. You know, it's basically all the pyramids, even the shell mounds here in Florida that are pyramids, are made out of a similar material, whether it's just natural clumped up shell that is hardened over time. This is made on purpose. So I think that Masons are privy to secrets like this, and we're told that once Franklin Smith helped Flagler build these hotels, and especially this one, the Juan Ponce De Leon Hotel, that Franklin Smith allegedly died and had only taught a few people the technique, and those people died and the technique was lost. So they don't build like this today. That's what we're told. And I would assume that's because if everyone had houses this sturdy, Florida would be losing a lot of money on, renewals, remodeling, and real estate, and hurricane storm damage. All these houses made of wood get all beat up and have to be replaced every couple of years. This thing has lasted almost 150 years, coming up close to 150 years. These things are solid like a castle, and you can see that many of them have arrow slits. The Juan Ponce de Leon Hotel, we're looking at the courtyard right now. You can see some arrow slits, not here, but on the exterior. I'm going to show some pictures.
You want to pull up your screen there?
Sure, let's see.
I'm just flipping through some stuff right now.
Yeah.
Whoops. This place was so baller back then, dude. They had like a pit full of gators and all that stuff. I'm about to pull up your screen.
Yeah. Okay. You can see that? On this exterior, you can see up in the corners of the towers, like the towers where it's like an extra story in the corners. Some of these windows are so skinny that they could be arrows. I guess I don't have a good picture of that. But top left in that picture, you see this little slit. Far left.
Wait, which slit are you talking about? You said they're called what? Arrow slits?
It's a skinny window that qualifies as an arrow, like an archery slit, where
Really
an archer would be shooting out of.
Oh, the one at the top left there, right?
Top left. It's skinnier than that other one next to it.
Yeah, I see it there.
And under that bell tower, you can see another one.
This place is really something, and once you're wrapped up, I want to get into the. I'm sure you're gonna bring it up, but the guys that were contracted to build it, because they're kind of shady too. They're part of this. Is
that Hastings and Carrere?
Carrere and Hastings, yeah.
Yeah, Carrere and Hastings. What else did they do?
They did a lot, apparently. So
yeah, they did like a lot of stuff in DC. They did a lot of stuff in pretty much all over. All these Tartarian buildings, they all have this Greco-Roman architecture. But then in Florida, they switched to the Moorish, so it's strange.
So they called it. It was one of the outstanding American Beaux Arts architecture firms, and the Beaux Art was like the academic architectural style. Tata École des Beaux Arts in Paris, particularly from the 1830s to the end of the 19th century. And it says it draws upon, and that's how you supposedly get all this. This is really magnificent.
Dude.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. This has Tartaria written all over it.
Romania, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Paris.
And wasn't the Ponce De Leon Hotel one of their first projects ever?
Yes. So let's look up their works here. So the firm's first major commission came from the parishioner of Rev Hastings, Henry Morrison Flagler, the Florida developer and railway tycoon, from whom the partners built the Ponce De Leon Hotel in 1885 to 1888. So they said they built it in 3 years.
Not only that, but in 1887, Flagler was also building a block away.
Alcazar, right?
The Alcazar, and Franklin Smith with him was also building. That's the Alcazar, the Leitner Museum now.
Wow.
And then the Hotel Cordova, and it was also renamed Santa Monica, or vice versa.
This gives me like super.
Casa Monica Hotel.
This gives me super like Vimana. What's the stuff at the top of the Hindu?
I don't know.
Vimanas? Is that what you call them? Like the spaceships that they say that the chariot of the gods, or it's like a spaceship, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Gives me super. What the?
It almost looks like.
What the fuck?
Oh, so that's. Hey, we'll save that for the Alcazar. The Alcazar is going to be.
Wait, is that part of it?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right.
The shrunken head. And
here we go. So as well as the Memorial Presbyterian Church. Wow. So they were these guys were supermen. They were building
all in that year. Everything was completed around 1887. All the projects going on at the same time in this revolutionary style of poured concrete. And it tells you that the Juan Ponce de Leon Hotel was actually one of the first poured concrete buildings ever in the planet. Now, I don't believe that at all, because obviously we know the mainstream timeline is pretty questionable.
So,
especially
So they were building the Alcazar, the Memorial Presbyterian Church, and the house for Henry Flagler nearby, which that's not Whitehall. That's not the one that we went to, right?
No.
It's another one. And by the way, for those that haven't checked out the K-pop tree video that we did, check that out on either one of our channels that we did that on there.
Mm-hmm.
But they did design the second house for Flagler right here, Whitehall, and the resort he developed, Palm Beach, Florida. Whitehall was completed in 1902. Whitehall is a Mediterranean-flavored house faced with white stucco with palatial interiors in various styles, range around a grand entrance hall with a double staircase. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all in that little, it seems 1887 is kind of the intersection point where all these projects are going on at the same time. And Flagler, he's also, at the same exact time, building and building and building more railroad too. So this man has his hands so full, it's crazy that they were getting all this done in swampland with no like major highways or anything, just in swampland. It was now, ironically, St. Augustine was completely like developed and had electric trolleys and trams. It's pretty remarkable. It's kind of like Australia. I was talking to Campbell about the Ponce De Leon Hotel, mostly just St. Augustine, but it's Florida was like the final frontier of America. You say that a lot, right?
Yeah, and I got that from an essay that I had sent to you, and I reached out to that guy to come on the show or do an interview. He never got back to me because he talks about the Gilded Age conspiracy. He gets deep into that, and he literally breaks down it's a 400-page paper where he breaks down the entire history of Florida, and that it was the last frontier. So there were in Congress, there were Republicans who were like, hey, we don't need to be spending money in Florida because it's God's country. That's how bad it is that God can't give it to anybody else. That's why it's God's country. And they talked about how it was they have expeditions that they were doing in Florida where at night they would shine a torch and you would see the floors moving because of all the reptiles and the snakes and everything in the swampland. They would go like this and they would just see the floor and the swampland moving around because it was alive. And imagine the mosquitoes back then, bro. How that must have been. Oh, bro.
It probably looked. Have you seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
No.
Okay, never mind. When the reptiles are all having sex in the blood, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Why would that make
That's if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean.
Freaking Narco Longo's a weirdo, man. Here, I got a 4K walkthrough. I'm gonna play this while you talk.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Will that take us room to room?
I believe so. I actually didn't watch it beforehand, but here, I'll bring it up now. Shout out to this person, Wandering Jack. Posted this in May. So this is Flagler. And we've been talking about going out to these places eventually and doing it in person. How we did at Whitehall, right? We did that video. People seem to really like that and enjoyed that video.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we got to do that here. We will. I've got one walking around. I do a tour of St. Augustine, but I don't say anything in the video. So
well, nobody wants to hear you talk anyways, Longo, so it's all good, bro.
Right. They'd rather just look at me.
So check this out, dude. They got like some my whole thing with the Tartarian aspect of everything, and I think I've mentioned it before, is where were the indigenous people writing about these things? Were they writing about it? I mean, I could be wrong, but were they? I think that they would remember some building like this being around.
Well, I don't think that the indigenous people is necessarily one group of people, and I think that in pre-Columbian America, I think you had various stages of development where some tribes might have been the loincloth wearing type, when some may have been highly, highly refined society on par, if not greater than that of European classical society. And I think the Moors themselves could be a very good candidate for that group of people. They would bridge the gap between that ancient, and then they are kind of the pre-Columbian. And if I had to guess, if this building is quote unquote ancient, or maybe even just 500 years old versus 150, that it would probably be Moorish escapees or Moorish natives of America who would probably be wearing stuff like turbans and worshiping Venus, doing stuff like that. And that's kind of what you'd expect to see inside of Moorish architecture. And I think what you see here is hurricane-proof Moorish architecture. You know, they kind of have some liberty in the Middle East to build more extravagantly because they don't have hurricanes like we do. They might have sandstorms, but the hurricanes, I think what you're seeing here is hurricane-proof Moorish architecture, not Moorish revival.
And can you get into because there is red brick at this?
No, it's actually, there might be some red brick.
So right here, like at the
very little, maybe in the archways, yeah. But all the red trim that you see at the top and
is this Ponce de Leon?
No, this is the Alcazar. We should.
Oh no, is it?
Wait.
No, it's not.
Rewind.
Flagler Hotel. Oh, this is the Lightner. The Lightner.
Lightner
Wow.
Museum.
Okay.
Yes, they are. He might just be looking at. They are right across the street from each other.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
They look not even across the street. They're separated by like a city park.
So who's this guy?
I don't know.
Interesting. So what I think is going on with these statues, right?
Might be DeSoto.
I've always said that back then in Egypt they were animating statues, and there's stories in the Picatrix that, for example, Hermes Trismegistus had a city that the name. I'm gonna find the name here because it kind of sounds like Alcazar, but I have it pulled up here. But anyways, there's this story where you have Hermes Trismegistus animating statues to keep an eye on the people of the city. And what I think is, you know, they always say be wary of idols that need to be carried. Well, I think that somehow I think that they were alchemists, you know what I mean? I think that these guys were trying to live forever, and they achieve this by doing this type of shit where they build some statue and people remember them as long as people remember their name. So I have Flagler County, Flagler College, Flagler Hotel, Flagler whatever, Flagler Avenue, all these things, as long as you remember their name for X amount of time. And if you go to any sorority, like they have the Carnegie Hall or the whatever hall or the XYZ hall, whatever name, like these people, as long as you remember their name, they keep on living forever. And I think that there is also an aspect, that's why I asked you about the red brick, because the red brick can be charged. And at some of these, we can get into it later, there's also hauntings involved where there is a lot of poltergeist activity.
Yeah, and the limestone too. That's why limestone is so important. Is at its core, limestone. When you break it down, I think it's calcite and something else. Basically, it's miniature crystals. It's very crystalline. So limestone itself has the potential to store energy and information. I don't know how well in relation to brick, but the pyramids are limestone, and this is like cast synthetic limestone, a geopolymer, quote unquote. And all the red trim, a lot of it is terracotta. So it's terracotta, but interesting, that stuff has been around for 150 years too, about 140 coming up.
Here we go. So I'm skipping through. Yeah, I haven't been here, so, but I'm gonna skip through where.
That's still out.
Yeah, right here. He's going up to the college. Yeah. Here we go. Much better, because I don't want to get through the whole museum thing there, because I know we're gonna talk about that. But it's funny you mentioned terracotta, because they allegedly say that, again, back to alchemy, the terracotta soldiers, the compound there is allegedly a pool of mercury somewhere under there, where I believe that since every single terracotta soldier was unique, I think that they were trying to do something about, again, infusing their souls into these soldiers, and that was his microcosm of his cosmic macrocosm palace. And I think it goes back to alchemy, where these guys were literally drinking tinctures and stuff of mercury to try and live forever, looking for that elixir of life. And it goes back to what these guys are doing. Look at this. Like, you can't tell me, if you look at these carvings, you can't tell me this is not a cult, bro. right? You there, and then when you get to the rotunda, all that stuff. I think this one has an oculus, and I'm not 100%, but here we have the lions again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, always with the lions, and you have the statue where.
Can I touch on the concept of living forever?
Yep.
You can keep playing it, I think. Just stop
Got a
stop it.
shot of the windows here that you were talking about.
Yeah, they're skinny. And maybe stop it if they get in and look at the gate that comes down, the iron gate that's on like a draw chain. Just stop it if it looks at that, please. But Flagler, my theory about tree incarnation, where the tree assists in the reincarnation process.
Do you mean this gate?
Yeah, if they turn around and look at it from the back. It's okay. It's okay. I'll grab it. Yeah, just pause it for a sec. Well, Flagler, what else did he do? He had the tree. My Mac's gonna die here in a sec. I gotta go grab the charger. But he also had the tree, the Kapok tree. So it seems like he wanted an ancestral tree for himself too, maybe in the pursuit of trying to live forever. Because that's my philosophy, is that when these old ancient ancestral trees were up, they assisted in the reincarnation process, because the people would bury their ash under the tree, blah, blah, blah. I talk about it in other videos, but you have Flagler with the giant trees, Edison with the giant trees, and he was living side by side with Ford, who visited the Coruscant compound, right? So yeah, they're all occultists, and I think the tree angle is another way. They're trying to cover every angle, just trying to live forever, prolong life, whatever it is. Let me go grab my charger real quick.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. Yeah, so I believe 100% with what Narco Longo is saying, where they are trying to, it goes back to what the elites are trying to do nowadays. They're trying to find the elixirs of life, of trying to live forever. You have Jeff Bezos, who is researching into and investing into companies that are looking for, they literally dub it the elixir of life. There are people who freeze their heads and their brains and all this stuff, hoping to come back again at some other time. I think that's what the ancient Egyptians were also trying to achieve by preserving their bodies, maybe perhaps to come back to them later in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, 100% that they are. And if you think about it, right, Flagler was the right-hand man of John D. Rockefeller. Like John D., you don't think he knew about the John D.? The famous occultist John D., who was speaking to angels and all that stuff. You don't think that they knew about this sort of stuff?
His wife definitely did.
His wife, yeah, we can get into that. His wife definitely did.
But I'd love to touch on this fountain. So what you see there is just a fountain, right? Interesting design, frogs, turtles. Well, this fountain here is actually a functioning sundial. And the frogs mark the hours of the day. And the turtles, if I'm not mistaken, mark like the seasons. Over time you can see how it's cast throughout the year. I think the turtles represent the seasons because there's 4 of them. They might be the 4 quarters of the day, possibly. But what you have is those 12 frogs are for sure the 12 hours of the day, and that is a functioning sundial. So just like you have a sundial over in Coral Castle, you have a sundial on the Bach Tower, the sundial, and as you're going to see, we're also going to find some astrology inside this place on the interior.
And do you happen to know right off the top of your head what the frog and turtle symbolism might be pointing to? Or do you have any assumptions?
If those are toads, then it could be a reference to psychedelic toad venom. But if they're frogs, I mean, man, what angle do you want to look at it from? What are you thinking about when you think of frogs?
When I think of frogs, honestly, dude, I think of you. We could take it a step further. You could think of the frog as some sort of metamorphosis, right? Where the frog starts as the egg, and all these occultists were all about the egg. The Monas back to John D. The Monas hieroglyphica is encased in an egg, so it signifies this being that goes through a transition where it goes from egg to like a fish type of thing, to this other creature, to then this amphibian where it can live in water, and we have the Oannes and all these other. Oannes is a water god, wasn't he? A Dagon at least is a water. These fish-headed men. I think that's where I'm looking at it from. And then you have the turtles, which could also symbolize the whole turtle. It's turtles all the way down type of thing. But might be just
world.
Yeah,
the world was built on a turtle's back, right?
And isn't that? I mean, I'll look it up, but back to what I mentioned earlier, where it's like the Vimanas, the Vimanas at the top of these buildings. Yeah. Isn't that like a Hindu type of belief that it's built on top of a turtle?
I think they do tortoise in Hindu, maybe, but it's a turtle in Viking. I'm pretty sure in Viking cosmology. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
And I think Japanese too. I could be pulling that out of my ass.
I'll look it up here though while you talk.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a fountain, and this is clearly emblematic of the Fountain of Youth. And let's count. Let's do that right now. I haven't done that yet. How many stripes are on this thing? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Huh. Do you count 16 as well? That's pretty significant because Coral Castle is all about 16.
16, yep.
The Sweet 16. This seems almost like a column. It's very phallic, but it also could seem like a spinal column.
Kundalini, the tree of life. The
chrism oils spouting out at the top.
The lines up top.
It's a very odd fountain design, to be honest. But basically, what else you have is, people in the Tartarian community always try and bring it back to like the function of these buildings and were these machines, right? Well, a fountain, all advanced technology aside, a fountain is proven to increase the mood around the fountain. If you're near a fountain, the mood is enhanced. They've measured this in different ways. It's because that dripping water, running water, little.
I play for my baby, dude. He falls asleep to it.
What do they call it? ASMR, right?
Yeah.
So people are obsessed with this, and we're going to look at some of these pictures where you see how many people would be out in front of this fountain back in like the 1900s, just sitting there, just like absorbing, sitting. And let me see if I can pull one of those up.
I want to
looking at that.
Touch the frog symbolism because it's really interesting. So the frog is a symbol in Northwest Coast native art and culture. We can find them in totem poles, house posts, as well as many household items. And the frog is a supernatural being which inhabits the human as well as the spirit world. So again, this metamorphosis of transitioning through realms, because that's what it is. You're going from this aquatic realm, this egg, to this other pleroma or something. So that's really interesting. Supernatural being which inhabits the human as well as the spirit world. And it makes me think of Spirited Away, which I believe there are some frogs in that. And the Spirited Away, if you've ever seen that anime, it's about this town that comes to life at night, and these spirits and all this stuff come out. And he adapts easily to his environment and communicates between the two realms. In the natural world, the frog can easily switch between water and land and is associated with the springtime, renewal, and changing of seasons. When spring comes and frogs start to croak loudly, it is a signal for tribes of the Northwest Coast to end their winter ceremonies and prepare for the next hunting and fishing season. Wow. Okay. The frog is also a healer. He is recognized for his ability to heal, and many believe that his songs are magical and contain divine power. Frogs are seen as cleansers of bad spirits, and shamans use frogs as spirit healers. Wow. Okay. So we have here if frog's tongue touches another creature, this represents the sharing of knowledge and power. So it's got to do with exoteric and esoteric knowledge. On totem poles, it occupies the bottom with its legs stretched out as a symbol of stability. And the frogs also represent wealth, abundance, ancient wisdom, rebirth, and good luck. As such, the frog symbolism plays an important part in Northwest Coast cultures. Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good info. Can I show my screen for a little? I grabbed some pictures of the courtyard.
You're sharing it now?
Okay, you can see me?
Yeah.
Cool. That's the fountain back in the late 1890s or early 1900s. I think it says 1903 down there, maybe. But this is what you did all day. There was no TV or anything, so you just kind of sat in the 95-degree weather and sweat out your demons. You would just sit there with your umbrella, and this is all they did. And I'd probably want to be there all day too if you were spending as much as this costs. Do you have any info on the price? I don't have any screen grabs of that.
No, but I can pull it up. I don't know. I know it was crazy though, the amount that you paid. It was like exclusive for elites of the only his rich friends obviously could stay there. So I'll pull that up here in a little bit. But that is really interesting. I would not be able to sit out there all day. And what are your thoughts on the dome shape? Because as of recently, I heard that the dome is one of the strongest structures. Structural,
I think it goes beyond that. I think this is clearly antiquitech. Can you see what we're looking at right now?
Oh yeah, is there a rooster at the top of that?
No, there's not a rooster. It's this strange electronic apparatus is what it looks like. That's really what it looks like. It's not a weather vane. And this thing to the left, it looks like technology. Like you said, ancient machines or ancient machinery. It's really just breathtaking to see people sitting under that, dressed like that. And then you have architecture like this in Florida 140-ish years ago. And I see antiquitech when I see this. Something that was either harvesting energy or producing energy, right? But basically, another thing that we should touch on is these towers. Do you have a good shot of both the towers, Juan? Here, I'll stop sharing.
I'm trying to pull up what the equivalent was of the cost of it. So the cost in 1888, the hotel cost $2.5 million. And at its time, it was reputed to be one of the finest hotels in the world. And $2.5 million from 1888 to today is about $78 million today.
Damn.
It's pretty. I mean, if you look at how much they spend on stuff today, I mean, there's $1 trillion city that they're building in what is it? Not Abu Dhabi. Is it Abu Dhabi? Maybe somewhere over there. Some crazy, oil prince city. They're building this mirror city that's worth $1 trillion. What did you want me to pull up?
Just, do you have a good shot of just like the front where you can see both towers?
Yeah, let me pull it up here. Are you talking about this front?
No, just like the front. Yeah, that tower, but from the front view.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here. Hold on.
So basically, there's two towers, and what you have is in one of those towers is hot water. In the other tower is the cold water. Does that make sense? So they're like water silos, those two towers. And one has hot, one has cold. Yeah. And amazingly, and just look, what is that apparatus at the top? It doesn't make sense, you know? It's not emblematic of anything. It's not religious. It's not, you know, iconography. It's just, looks like technology.
And
Looks like,
we have to mention too that a very important thing, that the power being supplied by DC generators installed by Flagler's
right.
friend,
Yep.
Thomas Edison, who, I don't know how you feel about Tesla. What are your thoughts on Tesla?
I mean, I think he was a real guy. I've read enough of his writing to get a sense of his personality. I think he was a real person. I think he was a good guy that was in bed with some bad people because of his amazing ability, just the same way that Jimi Hendrix ended up in bed with some bad people because of his abilities. So it always kind of tends to work out that way. I don't think these people are evil agents of disinformation, or I think he is what he is, famed to be, even though he's kind of not mainstream at all. He's penetrated the mainstream now, thank God. But I think he was a authentic guy, and I think he was in bed with, Edison, Westinghouse, the whole city of Chicago, the whole city of, New York, and
Yeah, definitely. No, I feel that Edison and Westinghouse and all these guys benefited from his knowledge, and a lot of the things that Tesla actually developed are credited to Edison and other guys who are still around today. I mean, Westinghouse is still around today. Edison is still around today. And I think he could have really built something of himself, but instead he died penniless and in love with a pigeon, allegedly.
Yeah. And Edison went vegetarian because Tesla was vegetarian, and he was always trying to one up Tesla, or trying to figure out what was giving Tesla his secrets. So he went vegetarian in order to try and be on par with Nikola Tesla. Thomas Edison did.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that part. I have a few books on him, and I've seen a few docuseries, but I did not know that. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you look up the silo? I think I have a picture of it, but it's in a folder. Can you look up I don't know what it's called. Let me look through my folder.
Which part? I'm still trying to find out how much it cost to stay, because I know it was a lot when it first.
Basically, there's this silo outside that is the
Are you talking about the
exhaust?
The separate tower on the outside?
Yeah, it's like just a brick tower, it looks like.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I thought they had knocked it down, but they didn't, right?
No, it's still there. I saw it a couple months ago. And that thing is basically the system that Edison, quote unquote, built, right, quote unquote, in the late 1800s, was steam powered, steam energy, steam electricity. And what you had was, I think, those two towers were used as pressure valves, almost a pressure system to keep this system running. And I don't think they know how to run it today or anything, but the lightning rods at the top would have been a part of this. And this silo.
Is this it right here?
No, it's to the right, in the center of the picture, in the dead center of the picture.
This one?
Yep, you can see it poking up.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I thought it was a whole separate building like this. So it's this thing right here, you mean?
Yeah, let me see.
I'll try and get a better picture of it. Now that I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's just like a skinny brick. Sorry, I thought I had a picture of it.
Have you stayed at this place? Or you can't stay at it. It's a college
Here we
now.
go.
People live here.
Okay, I found it.
You got it? I found a picture of this thing, but I don't know what it is. Let's see here. I don't think it's this thing, right?
It's a smokestack. That's what it's called, a smokestack.
Is it this thing here? The Ponce De Leon
Yeah.
showing the heritage?
Just search Ponce De Leon smokestack. Not that one. Just Google search Ponce De Leon smokestack, please, and that'll bring it up.
Yeah, I got it here.
So this is the smokestack that was allegedly letting off the.
Oh, see, I told you, bro. It's like a whole separate thing. That.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. It is like somewhat attached.
Where
It
the
is
hell did it
off
go?
to the side, but it is kind of separate.
Yeah, bro. This thing is wild looking. This thing right here.
Yep, and it's ribbed like a fucking weird ass sex toy or something. And it's bumpy, if you know what I mean. And
damn, it doesn't even let me zoom into that. So it's a Edison boiler building. So according to the mainstream, one of the only examples of industrial architecture from the Gilded Age, the simple rectangular building is the most readily identified by its branded brick smokestack. House to steam dynamos that powered the 5 buildings of the Hotel Ponce de Leon. This structure was critical to the operation of the magnificent hotel. What?
Yep.
Fuck?
And today I think they use it as like it's part of the art building now. So I don't know if they still burn stuff out of it, like a kiln or something. But yeah, there you go. That thing was built at the same time, and like they just said, that was very integral to this steam energy system. That was very, hush hush. We don't really know what was going on.
For as integral as it was, there's no good pictures of it because when you look it up, I mean, you're seeing here.
I think if you search art building, Ponce De Leon Hotel art building. Whatever.
Anyways,
that's a good picture.
That's what
it looks like. That's it. So let's move on. What else is there? Can we keep going through the 4K walkthrough?
So we have this phallic-like sundial with some symbolism at the bottom that we broke down, which is really interesting. I have the turtle symbolism, which is longevity, perseverance, steadfastness, protection, retreat, healing. Around the world, the tortoise and the turtle can be seen as a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. And it is able to defend itself on its own. So it can be regarded as personifying water, the moon, the earth, time, immortality, ding, 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 and fertility. So, again, this creature who can retract into itself and essentially go into another dimension, kind of symbolically.
The underworld, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. The underworld, which these guys were.
And Florida's has native tortoises, too. People always forget that. There's a shit ton of tortoises in Florida. We've got so many types of sea turtle. Or not sea turtle, turtle. Sea turtle, green turtle, leatherback, snapper, alligator, snapper, soft shell.
Dude, I went to the
turtle.
I went to the zoo the other day. I'm gonna try and find a picture of this snapping turtle. Oh my goodness. And check this archway out, bro. This gateway here. Look at that.
Yeah.
It is really cool. Yeah, we should definitely come here and do one of the tours and then talk and do a video, have all my stuff ready. But I saw this huge snapping turtle at the zoo the other day that I went. Oh my goodness. I'm going to pull up a picture of it because it was wild.
See, this interior, I had a carpenter reach out to me who says he's been doing carpentry for, 20 odd years or whatever. And he says this alone could not have been done in 3 years. This courtyard, foyer, whatever you want to call it, lobby, a foyer. Basically, that wood back there, those wood pillars, just sourcing the lumber, getting it all in there built, they're casting concrete around it. You don't even know what it's going to weigh. It's the first building that's ever been done like that. It's pretty crazy. And that amazing fine woodwork is still there today. Is that all the tour?
That is all the tour, bro.
Okay, well, here, let me take over. I've got some pictures of the interior.
I'm going to show the snapping turtle real quick, bro. This thing was bananas. So it doesn't look as big here on this picture, but Capone is at the Brevard Zoo. And, dude, it was gigantic. So imagine being one of these last, Florida in the 1800s was the last frontier. You're walking through the swamps, and this dinosaur bites your big toe off or something.
Mm-hmm. Or your foot off.
Your
whole foot.
Bro, I'm telling you, the size of this turtle was crazy. There was so many people around it, and I couldn't take a picture of it, but he's at least 55 years old or potentially over 60. Oh, here he is, dude. This guy is a beast, bro. Capone. Check him out, dude. Oh, look at his. Imagine, dude, you're wading through the swamps of Florida. Have you seen the guy on Instagram that he dives in the Everglades? Have you seen that guy?
Yeah.
Insane. So check this guy out. Look how big he is. Bro.
That's an alligator snapping turtle.
Yes. Look at him. That's a dinosaur, bro. Look at that. Insane. When I saw this thing, I was like, wow, that is crazy huge. It looks way bigger in person when you go check them out. Brevard County Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to pull up, bro?
I've just got some pictures of the interior.
Have you seen the rotunda at I believe it's the Capitol building where George Washington is on a rainbow? Have you seen that one?
No.
You haven't seen it? I'll pull it up here later. Are these construction videos? Is it construction pictures that you just had there?
There's one construction picture. I do have one construction picture. We'll talk about that one. But just look at this shit. Now, if you're a carpenter, let me know. If you think this could be done in 3 years, right? In the midst of a grand architectural project where they're pouring concrete, they're building railroad, they're,
by rookies.
Right. And probably slave labor, because Flagler got busted using slave labor in, I think, the Keys, building his overseas highway, and probably was doing the same thing before that too. But this is like master carpentry woodwork. What you've got here, when I think we're in the ballroom now, what you have is it's hard to tell there. I'll go grab another picture, but you have the 12 signs of the zodiac on this roof. And the 12 signs of the zodiac. Right there you can see, I think it's Sagittarius or someone riding a lion. Might be Leo. There's better pictures. I'll go grab one.
And it's Tiffany glass, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like a intermediate between regular glass and stained glass. A little bit. It has some of the same motifs where you see the I don't know. I don't know anything about glass, but
Well, the process that it goes through. So, if you've ever read Fulcanelli and the Mystery of the Cathedrals, what you mentioned earlier that these buildings are machines, and I know I talked about in the first episode where adhering to certain Pythagorean principles, the Greeks saw buildings as algorithms incarnated. So this goes back to this idea that they're implementing math in these occulted lines, this occult scaffolding. And I did an interview, an architect. He wrote the book The Architect as Magician, and he writes about how the art of designing, the art of making a building is magical. It's a magical process. The stylus that the architect uses is the wand. And one of the very first architects, I believe, not Imhotep, I think was his name. Anyways, one of these Egyptians, he was a magician and an architect. So the idea that these powers can be, a building can be used as a talisman essentially. And I think that because I always come at everything from like an occult standpoint, because I do believe everything is related to the occult. And for example, looking at this rotunda, if you've ever seen check this out. Look how beautiful that is. If you've ever, is this like a high quality? It's a really high quality picture. If you've ever seen the tomb of Christian Rosenkreuz, which was a Rosicrucian, like their Messiah-esque guy, right? I believe that the oculus serves as some sort of purpose because it goes back to that bending of light. And I know you and I talked about that with I forgot what you call the astral architecture or something like that, where I think it's the way that light is bent within these buildings that invokes a certain type of feeling in people. And by them using this certain glass, you have it at Jekyll Island. There's like this little church there with this crazy glass work. It's all about the way it refracts the light and makes it look. And you have here this oculus, the way it interacts with the building and just really bends the light within it. And I'm going to pull up a picture of the tomb of Christian Rosenkreuz.
Have you ever heard of a dream machine?
Yes, with the little slits and
the flickering lights. It's kind of like the same effect, right? If the sun's hitting it and getting refracted.
Yeah, to what? To make you, unlock another state of consciousness, essentially. So if you look at, again, the tomb of Christian Rosenkreuz, this oculus always plays a role in and for those, right, a church, a lot of these ancient churches, the miracles were attributed to the building. A biological change occurred in people in these buildings. So these miracles that were happening there, they were like, hey, this isn't God. It's like the building is a part of the alchemical process. And it literally evokes biological changes within people. That's what Kundalini is and all this stuff, where you're literally, by meditation, by being in a certain place at a certain time, you're able to invoke a change within yourself. Like physically, like actually.
Yeah. Kundalini, it's like the fountain in the center of the Ponce De Leon courtyard. I'm gonna pull up.
Here, while you do that, I'm gonna show a picture or a video of an old time at the hotel from 1926. Is a black and white video. Pretty cool. We have the fountain in here and everything. So you have the fountain. And I guess he had a pit full of gators, dude. It was gnarly.
He had a pit full of gators?
Yeah, bro.
I haven't heard that yet.
So we have the courtyard or whatever this is here, the front. And this is 1926. So imagine this fairly recently, quote unquote, built, and all how magnificent it must have been. The plants are the same though, right? They always got those palm trees here in Florida. The same vegetation, unfortunately. But I had somebody ask me the other day, do the leaves change in Florida? I'm like, kind of, sort of. Not how you get in certain other places, but
yeah. Dude, it's so hard to find this.
The glass?
No, just an up close picture of the zodiac signs on the ceiling.
Here we go, bro. Look at the gator pit that's about to come up now. It's crazy. And I'm sure there wasn't a shortage of those while they were moving along through the swamp. Look at that.
Yeah, they were riding them.
Look at that.
Right outside of this place is where that picture is of the guy in the cart.
Oh, yeah. I've seen. I used it as a cover photo for one of my episodes. Actually,
yeah, that's the St. Augustine city gates that had the guy in the alligator cart.
This is gnarly. But I also want to point out that at the entrance of the Littner Museum, the statue is of Pedro Menendez de Avalos, which is the Spaniard who founded St. Augustine.
Really?
Yes. So wait, did this gator just go down a slide? Or is that a person? Oh, you can't see it. That would have been dope. But yeah, that's in 1926. Ponce de Leon and gators. So yeah, it's he was a classic example of the conquistador, intrepid, and energetic, loyal, and brutal. So this guy here that's the statue that we saw. So Don Pedro Menendez, of course. You still haven't found the picture?
No, I got it. I was on Google. I was on Google Chrome, and the website wasn't working on Google Chrome, so I went on Safari, and I have the picture right now. I'm gonna pull it up. I've also got the tile, like the mosaic tile that they have on the floor. I've got an interesting little story about that.
The one with his face on it?
Yes. No, not with his face on it. Where he told the architect, you're not going to be able to see what I mean until I show you. He told the architect basically, the building is too perfect. I don't want God to be angry at me. So go fuck up the tile in the ceiling, not the ceiling, the mosaic on the floor. This tile arrangement. It's weird. They moved one tile off to the wrong position, so the wrong color was in the pattern. If that makes sense, to make it imperfect, so that God would have mercy on Flagler. That's the story.
Yep.
Quote unquote.
Check this out, dude. Flagler returned to St. Augustine in 1885, so back to what we were talking about at the beginning, and made Smith an offer. If Smith could raise $50,000, Flagler would invest $150,000, and they would build a hotel together. Smith couldn't come up with the funds, so Flagler began construction of the 540-room Ponce de Leon Hotel by himself, spending several times his original estimate. He spent $2.5 million on it after the fact, and he was going to invest 150 at the beginning. Okay. Smith helped train the masons on the mixing and pouring techniques he used on the Zoraida. How do you say it again? Zoraida. I'm an idiot. 2 years later, Smith would build the Casa Monica Hotel opposite the Ponce de Leon on the land he sold to him.
That one's even more of a castle.
Whoa. Yeah, this thing is
Yeah.
sick looking, dude.
Well, hang on. Those each can be their own episode, you know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Here, I've got the tile and the zodiac picture.
Do
if
it.
I could. Cool. You chiefing?
No, dude, I don't do that. What's that? What's that one meme? It's like, you smoke weed? No, weed don't bother me. Have you seen that meme?
No. So here, the rotunda. You can see what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. The rotunda floor is done in hand-placed mosaic. It was one of the last things that was being finished up before the hotel opening, and Mr. Flagler and an assistant were admiring what had been done. When the assistant made the comment, it was perfect. It was perfect. Mr. Flagler took offense to that, saying, "Only God is perfect." He then advised the tile layers to make a mistake so it would not be perfect. Can you find it? Each of the black triangles have a white corner other than one. Quite a mistake. It really doesn't make sense. You know, it makes no sense at all, this story.
Interesting. I thought you were going to pull up the one where it's his face on it. Have you seen that one?
No.
You haven't heard the story of how he's forever embedded into the floor on a tile?
No.
I'll pull it up here, but yeah, that's...
Wow. Good. And here's the, you can still see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Signs of the zodiac are part of the dining room ceiling decor. To stay in the hotel in many of the years after it opened, you had to commit to paying for the season. This could be from November to May. It didn't matter if you only stayed one day, you still paid the $4,000 each to stay. For a couple, that would equate to $250,000 today. Wow.
Yikes.
So that's the sign of Sagittarius. And he's actually got some astrotheology in here because the Sagittarius is killing the zodiac. Sorry, killing the Scorpio, it looks like. But another thing I wanted to get into is this guy. I covered this a little with Campbell when I did the show with Autodidactic about St. Augustine. But I'll read from here again. And I think this website's called The Gypsy and the Traveler, Gypsy and something. I don't give a fuck. This is this is not a downspout. Mr. Flagler's friend was Thomas Edison. The Edison Electric Company powered the building with steam heat and 4,000 electric lights, making the hotel one of the nation's first electrified buildings. That's a weird word, electrified, right? Electrified buildings. This dragon had a red light bulb in it, making it appear as if it were breathing fire. There were several around the courtyard. Must have been an exciting sight for the guests. But Mr. Flagler had to hire additional staff to turn on and off the light switches in the rooms. So now he's talking about the hotel rooms where they had just regular lights. Mr. Flagler had to hire additional staff to turn on and off the light switches in the rooms because the guests were afraid of electricity and thought they might be shocked. And that very well may have been the case because, like we were talking about Tesla, the whole debate was between DC, AC.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is safe? Which one will kill you? So here's another very peculiar thing. This clock piece, I don't know what you'd call it, clock set is, I'll just read it. Thomas Edison designed this electric clock set in one of the largest blocks of white onyx known. So in the world, it's definitely the largest in this hemisphere, but largest cut of white onyx. So how did that get to Florida, right? I think they have some white onyx in Georgia, maybe. I could be wrong. but there's definitely marble in Georgia.
Yes.
Notice that Edison used 4 numeral ones rather than the usual IV for the number 4. That is bizarre. That has Masonic occult code written all over it.
Really?
Right? Yes. Look at that. Notice that Edison used 4 numeral ones rather than, 4 numeral ones rather than the usual IV. Do you know Roman numerals?
Yes.
So, 4 for people that don't know, 4 is IV, because once you hit 4, you're subtracting from 5, which is V. So the 1, the I, is subtracting from the 5. It's kind of uncommon. I don't know much about Roman numeral history and how much people were using them back in that Victorian era in America, but it's uncommon to have the 4 single I's. I think it's code. I think it's some type of it's indicative of something.
And where is this in the hotel? Do you know?
I don't know. I think it's like the ladies. I think it was actually like the ladies' cigar room or some shit like that. It wasn't even the main hall, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so here's the last thing that I really wanted to. Not the last.
Those pictures are nice.
We've got this. This is the only construction photo, quote unquote construction photo, and you tell me. What I see is a completed hotel with a little weak-ass scaffolding built up on it. And what you have is what we like to call vanilla skies, where in these old, photos, the sky was just white. So in order to manipulate photographs, all you would have to do is match that color through paint or whatever method you have, and you could block out pieces that are built, like the towers. So what you see here is nothing has been built or is yet to be built, except where the towers would pop up over this ridge at the top of the roofs. So this, to me, this quote-unquote construction photo doesn't prove very much, right? It proves that there was dirt roads. They had not much to work with around them.
It looks desolate.
Yeah, it's desolate. So it doesn't look like anyone would want to stay there anytime soon. But within, 2 years, 1885, 87, you had the entire city square. It looks magnificent. It looks, from afar, it looks like Jerusalem almost. It's breathtaking.
Whoa.
So, one other thing I wanted to get into was the couch. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. You're going to love this. With
My mind, bro?
Yeah, with your fucking occult-obsessed thing.
What the fuck?
Now, do you see what we're looking at, this couch?
Yes.
This is a couch in the Ponce De Leon Hotel. I believe it's original. It's definitely 100 years old. This couch was in the Ponce De Leon Hotel, and for some reason there was like this strict code of etiquette where the only people who were allowed to sit in this couch were men that were courting women. So a man that was trying to win the favor of a woman would invite her to sit on this couch with him.
What?
And then the third seat was for a chaperone. That was mandatory, that there would be a chaperone that would accompany new first dates or whatever it would be, a man courting a woman. And then there would be a chaperone, a man or a woman there just to sit there. Now look at this arrangement. How is anybody going to have a normal conversation with this arrangement? Okay? Now, when I saw this, I immediately thought of the three-sided sun wheel. And I didn't know the name then, but I do now. This is called the Triacrian.
Mm-hmm.
And another name for it is the Triskelion. And you can see this all over the ancient world. They revered this just as much as they revered the swastika or the cross, stuff like that. The Star of David is a very ancient symbol. It's the patron symbol of Sicily, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And right there you see it with the, I don't know what to call it, the Merovingian eagles, the double-headed eagles.
Those are snakes too at the top of the head, right? Or horns?
Oh, sorry. That's not a double-headed eagle. They're wings, but that is Medusa. So in Sicily, they put Medusa. They put Medusa on top of the Triacrian, and I think this is a Triskelion, where it kind of curls out like that. But this is a Triacrian, which means three-leg Triacrian. Aquarius rules the legs. Acrian, Aquarius, Acri. So here you can see how extensive this is in different cultures. Used on the floor, used on coins in ancient Greece. Or maybe that's Rome. Sorry. That looks more like... Did you get the idea? That's the crest of Sicily.
So what is that invoking? Is that invoking a certain type of energy in order to, again, it has to do with love, maybe some tantric sex magic going on there, dude?
No, I think you're getting warmer there. But
some
I don't
swingers? Was Flagler a swinger? He was a swinger.
Yeah, probably. That mustache, he was getting up. He was like a 1880s porno daddy. Imagine how much Flagler was getting, bro. It was the 80s, the 1880s, the mustache. But I thought that was very significant because I don't think anyone would sit in that couch and talk to the person they're trying. Maybe society was very different back then, but they're not even looking at each other. Mm-hmm. It's not logistic.
Looking at the back of their head, which is weird.
Exactly. Very strange, and it is a sun. If you look at it from above, it's the three-sided sun wheel, three-legged sun wheel. So what else you got? You
want to get spooky, bro, since it's almost Halloween? You want to put this out next week? Make it a Halloween episode?
Sure. We could also do a Halloween episode. I'm going to be back in Tampa for a little bit.
Oh, yeah? Let me know when you are. So...
Oh, yeah. Maybe we can do the Lake Bach Tower on the way back.
Hello.
If you want to meet me there.
I'll meet you in Tampa. We'll do a podcast over there, and then...
Okay.
We can go to the Plant Hotel over there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we could do Bach Tower. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, if you want to do that, we're gonna be over there probably like right after. So his face is in one of the tiles on the quote unquote.
You can't read it, bro. Hold on.
Imperfect. So,
the story goes that they did a viewing of his body at the rotunda. Again, back to this magical ascension belief that you travel up through the rotunda, right? That's what I'm getting at. And supposedly, right after that, the doors had all shut loudly or something like that. Some crazy story. There's different variations of it, and it spooked everybody. So, in the early 1880s, eccentric entrepreneur Henry Morrison Flagler bought an orange grove and began construction on a resort in St. Augustine, Florida in 1885. 3 years later, Flagler's dream was realized when the lavish 540-room Ponce De Leon Hotel finally opened. The Ponce De Leon was the place to be and one of the first buildings in the United States to have electricity. You had Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway, all visited the hotel. Even Teddy Roosevelt, Lyndon B. Johnson, all enjoyed stays at the hotel. So, okay. And now they say that now it's a Flagler College. The school is believed to be haunted by the ghost of Henry Flagler. There's stories of his apparition. There's stories of his mistress's apparitions. And there is the ghost of his wife, the one that was messing around with Ouija boards and doing seances, that allegedly she killed herself at the hotel. And
Was it at the hotel?
they say it was on the 4th floor, and the 4th floor is closed off to people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wow. And my boy, homie Romy, he had told me that, shout out to homie Romy from Rising from the Ashes podcast. He had told me, because he visited there, he went there, that the people can see in the 4th floor sometimes like a hanging apparitions, like something hanging from like the ceiling, again, because she killed herself.
Like a lynching?
No, like she killed herself. She hung herself.
Okay.
So like, yeah, but when you see the person hanging, they can see that at night or whatever. And there's a ghost of a little boy, and that pinches people on the inside of their thighs, which I found was really weird.
That's probably Flagler trying to get freaky.
So when he passed away in 1913, his body was held in state in the rotunda of the hotel. A few hours after Flagler's body was taken to a nearby church for the funeral, a janitor discovered a tile on the floor that looked like a small portrait of Flagler's face, which, I mean, kind of looks...
I don't know about Flagler's face, but definitely a face.
Yeah, it's definitely... Yeah, I don't know about Flagler's, but definitely a face. So the tile is still there. In fact, if you want to find it, it is located by the gift shop, of course. Today, students of the college claim that they have encountered the spirit of Henry Flagler. According to legend, a former student always made a point to step on the tile and mock the urban legend until one day he heard a loud knock at his door late one night. As the young man sprang out of bed, suddenly the apparition of Henry Flagler appeared. He's like, "Yo, what's up, motherfucker? Surprise!" And the student was so distraught, he started yelling and ran out of the room and dropped out of school.
Damn.
Ooh, spooky. So there's poltergeist activity and haunting. So that's why I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the red brick holding energy, and it can be charged and all that stuff? Maybe that's why old buildings have more hauntings. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, it is. And wood too, like all wooden floors, like these old saloons in the West are almost always haunted.
Oh, that's right.
Because basically you've got, with that conductive material, or not even just conductive, but impressionable, where sound frequencies might leave an impression, a etheric impression on these materials that are, crystalline in structure. And what you'd get is, in times of violence or in instances of violence, you have, or just anything, but the violent and traumatic ones are very intense, and more impression is left. You have, in places like wood and brick, there are going to be more residues of a traumatic event, or good events too, like a cathedral, right? You want to sustain that good feeling for eternity in this brick building or a stone building. I think what you have. What were we talking about?
Talking about the energy being held in these buildings because they're able to be charged. Right.
So I definitely think they can hold memory, especially with the ghosts. All of St. Augustine is rumored to be haunted.
They do ghost tours.
One of the most haunted cities in the world, and I think that's directly in part to the prevalence of Coquína rock that goes on. That is there because it absorbs all that memory, all that activity, I think. And it's kind of like a record. A wood floor is kind of like a record machine for if you're walking the same footsteps as someone else, you can possibly invoke the same.
Oh, dang, bro! Like sympathetic magic type of thing.
Yeah, sympathetic magic, exactly.
Whoa, that's trippy.
So a wood floor that might be 150 years old has soaked in all of those memories, and I do think that brick definitely can respond the same way. And poured concrete, maybe not, but poured Coquína mix, where they have the limestone, crushed up shell and limestone mixed into it, that is going to conduct more. That's going to be more akin to the limestone in the pyramid than it would be to like everyday cement or concrete.
Whoa, dude, yeah, that's really trippy. If you think about it, how you're saying, if you're able to match the same cadence and the same steps that some guy took, right, you're able to invoke them. Is that it makes me think of the ceremonies that secret societies do, like the Masons and the checkered floor and stuff. I wonder if it's made out of wood.
Well, in like Eyes Wide Shut, they do the high priest. It looks like I'm jacking a dick off. Stabs his staff down into the ground 3 times. It's like duh, 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 and then later in the movie, very akin to sympathetic magic, you have the high priest, not the high priest, the guy that, because he's cloaked, he might be someone else, but the guy that you think might be the high priest later in the movie, you see his face, and he's got a cue ball. He's either got the 8-ball or a cue ball, and he's standing on top of a pool table. And the pool table is the same color as the carpet from the earlier scene where the guy stabs the staff down. And he hits the pool table with the cue ball 3 times on the red suede carpet. And there was red carpet in the temple, or when they're having the orgy scene. And it's almost like he's using the pool cue to stomp the ground, to knock the ground. And then he evokes that same act later on in the movie when he hits the cue ball the same amount of times. If you've ever watched Eyes Wide Shut, you got to watch Eyes Wide Shut.
I was going to say, I've never seen it. Are you disappointed in me?
Yeah, that's a must. That is a must for conspiracy theorists. It's also just an amazing movie on so many levels.
That's not the fucked up one, right? Or is it? Right, it is.
It is the fucked up one. There's Illuminati orgy.
Clockwork Orange, is that one too, right?
Oh, well, okay. I see what you mean now, yeah. Clockwork Orange is like fucked up in the head. Like, makes very good light of rape and stuff.
Yeah. I don't like rape stuff. I don't like rapey stuff. Like dolphins are super rapey. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't know that dolphins rape each other. It's crazy.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many animals have like vicious sex, like cats included.
Is that what Dr. Longo does on his free time? Watch cat sex videos.
I'm a veterinarian doctor. No.
Jeez. So
no.
I think I don't know, man. Anything else you want to touch on? Because we did a pretty. I like this style where it's not like a lot of the regular videos where people just don't really go into depth into the symbology. I feel like they just focus on the buildings too much. Like, okay, the buildings are really impressive. I want to get into the deeper meaning. Like, what does this building mean? And I think that we talked about some of the more interesting points.
Oh, I did want to touch on one little thing, if that's cool.
Of course, dude.
What do you know about boric acid?
Boric acid? Not.
Yes.
Nothing.
So one thing that I forgot to tie in when I was showing the 3 legs, the 3-legged things. Can I share?
Bro, why do you keep asking me? I'm not going to tell you no.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's from the Wikipedia page for, what's it called? Triskelion. Now, there you go. It also seems to match precisely the molecule for boric acid.
Which does what?
I don't know. But it just reminds me of alchemy.
Bro,
this is an alchemical symbol that is woven into architecture or furniture. This is how alchemists talk to each other. This is how occultists talk to each other. they don't talk on the phone and tell each other stuff. They have cues that cue you in when you're initiated. And a couch may be that very cue. So to me, this could, you walk into a room and the furniture might tell you a chemical equation, a chemical mixture. The couch is boric acid, the chandelier is, nitrogen, stuff like that.
Interesting. So I looked up what boric acid is, because how the fuck are you going to bring that up and not talk about what boric acid is?
It was the last picture I put in there.
So boric acid is a compound of boron, oxygen, hydrogen with formula BOH, and it is usually encountered as a colorless crystal or white powder that dissolves in water and occurs in nature. And then when you look up, go ahead.
I wonder if they were using boric acid in the mix, and that's the key to the mix.
Well, boric acid is used as a fireproofing agent for wood, as a preservative, and as an antiseptic. It is used in the manufacture of glass, pottery, enamels, glazes, cosmetics, cements, porcelain.
Cements. Dude, this is like cracking the code.
Hit up.
The fucking weird ass. And think about the courting. Think about the courting practice. That could be an allegory itself. I read that off like the Wikipedia page.
So it's got to be true, right?
No, I'm just saying that's the mainstream story. Well, let's dissect that with an alchemist perspective. The male and the female have to meet on this couch. Well, look, you have an O and an H, a oxygen and hydrogen molecule. Those are could be masculine and feminine. And then you have the B right there, the chaperone, the third gender, the third party, the third, the
cuck.
The alchemical cucking.
We should name that episode. The alchemical
cuck.
The alchemical cuck. Because again, back to what I was saying, where we're breaking down the symbolism of what these places could have been used for after the fact, because we know that the elites like to take things over and use or pervert them or use them for their own things. And when you think of a Rockefeller or a Flagler and you look at the way that they're portrayed even in history, it's almost like they did nothing wrong. Have you noticed that? Where it's like they're squeaky clean.
Yeah.
You can't find dirt. You can't.
Well, I'm definitely not a communist, but that is kind of one of the pitfalls of quote unquote capitalism. If you make enough money and put your face on enough things, you kind of are impervious to. And if you're in bed with the right people, like Rockefeller and Standard Oil, which he co-founded, and some believe that Flagler was pulling the strings, that Flagler had a higher position than Rockefeller, because Rockefeller was almost like the face of the organization, and Flagler seemed to be more of like a recluse, and Flagler's brother is even less known. And Flagler's brother, I believe, was also
his stepbrother.
Sorry. So you have two
Harkness.
So you have two Flagler, two family members, and one Rockefeller. So, who had more pull, who had more say, and so I think that about wraps it. Anything else?
No, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I really want to start digging deeper into Flagler and talking about him more, and the Henrys of Florida in particular. So maybe as we go along, we can start talking about the other Henrys that were very influential, and there are about 7 or 8 of them that I haven't covered.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. So that wraps up the Ponce De Leon Hotel, St. Augustine. We're going to probably go visit there one of these days very soon. Make sure to check the first episode out, Patreon exclusive, on Fort Jefferson, on either of our Patreons, patreon.com/the101podcast, at the 101 podcast on all social media platforms, and on YouTube, all that good stuff. You can plug your stuff, Dr. Longo.
Old World Florida on YouTube. Old underscore world underscore Florida at Instagram. And that's it.
That's it, bro. That was a good
That's
one.
all she wrote.
It's all she wrote. So we'll catch you
Into the Harkness.
Into the Harkness.
Right. I'm going night-night.